Hello, everyone. Welcome to our last Big Brother podcast. This is a silent podcast where we are anything but silent. I'm Sarah Yell.
And I am Ganjo. How are you guys doing? And how are you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing good. I feel like it's almost summer. I feel like there's a lot of high expectations for BBUS to follow up in BB Can's footsteps. We'll see how they do. I'm assuming it's a fresh cast of people. I haven't really been keeping up with it.
All right, but yes, I honestly agree with that. And I feel like they have some heavy shoes to fill. And we also have a guest today. Can you guys please welcome Sean to the podcast, our silent podcast graphic designer.
Hey.
Shout out to you, Sean. So how are you doing today?
Doing good. Sorry I'm
What's
late.
your shirt say? Is this a New York City shirt?
New York City, and then...
Oh,
yeah.
Does that say Los Angeles? Oh,
Nice. We let a little ball in the middle. But we actually haven't really started yet. So I guess as the guest, you can start, Sean. How did you feel overall with this Big Brother 9 Canada season?
I loved it. Listen, diversity was there, entertainment was there, and the drama was there. The three things I look for in Big Brother. Top notch. Really liked it.
Same. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I feel like the season started off with a bang. It was a messy vote off rip, and then we got to see how messy that house could look and how it did look for the rest of that game. I don't think that house never actually hit a status quo, and I think that's very exemplary of the winner of the season. So, Sarah, how did you feel about the result of the final three, the final two, and the person who ultimately won?
Oh, since the beginning. Oh, there's like an airplane in the background.
Shoot.
Since the beginning, I've been such a Ty fan. I just felt like he was the perfect level of playing the game without being too over the top. And I feel just like from the beginning, I'm pretty sure second episode of this podcast, I was like, Ty is my winner pick. I think he is a sweetheart. And he also showed a little bit of, the conniving side you have to have on Big Brother. I think that Ty is a solid top tier winner, and I could not be happier.
Oh, period. He bought out. I saw him being in that throuple, and I saw his position in the throuple, and I was like, wow, he's very in a power position, and if he plays his card right, he can actually get to the end. I didn't think he was going to do as good as he did, though. I was very impressed, and I was happy for him. That was a very tough game to win.
I wasn't rooting for him until the very end. I was like, wait a damn minute. He brought me back. He was someone I was like, okay, cool. He's just sitting there. But then the more I watch, the more I see his gameplay, it all makes sense. It just makes sense. So kudos to him.
But your girl Tara, she made a run. I remember also second episode, I was like, I can already predict someone like Tara, even if she makes it to the end, will never win the season. And I think it would have been interesting if Tara made it. I don't know if she could have beat Ty. I don't know. It would have been close. It would have been, I don't know.
I mean, since we got the pleasure of doing this podcast a little later, we got to see somewhat of background knowledge of some of the jurors. And I guess they were kind of hinting at that they were just really about to vote for the person who won the final HOH. I'm trying to say basically the more so.
I think it's stupid.
Which is very stupid, but the right person ended up winning that final 3 HOH, ended up taking the person to the end. I felt like them leaving Tara in the game was scary because if Tara got to the end, I think Tara had a good chance to win. I don't know what happens if Ty cuts Brayden, because I think I think he still wins. To be honest, I always thought Ty would beat Tara, but I actually thought Bray had a good chance to beat Ty.
I thought Brayden was going to get 2 or 3 votes. I was surprised it was almost unanimous, which I think that part of the reason for that was I think Kiefer going out at 4 made a huge difference because I think a lot of the people on the jury respect Kiefer, and I think Key was such a Ty stan, that I think that he probably really pushed the jury in that direction also towards Ty.
It's also the perception of the house guests and the jury, how they perceive the players left in the game. Also, like how they even jury management. Like Ty did it. Like he had the perfect jury management. Like he wasn't ignoring people when they got evicted. Like he hugged every single person that left to the jury. Like, which is something like the small things matter. If that makes sense.
Yes, it most definitely matters because I feel like when the final three was so close in comp wins and stuff, and like I guess agency in the game, having a good mouthpiece on you and being able to talk is like very vital at the end of the game, because I think that's what helped Ty get all those extra votes over Brayden, because Ty could talk circles out of basically anybody in that house. And I don't think they realize that sometimes that's more threatening than somebody even winning comps, because you can clearly see that, but you can't see somebody out talking you at the end.
I think Brayden did exceptional though at final two though. I think we should give him credit, and I think Brayden played a phenomenal game, and there was just everyone played really great games at like the final 6 on, and so I think it was just really hard.
Yeah.
No, Brayden, no, I was very impressed. I think Brayden didn't miss a beat on his questions. Really, it was more so I guess interpretation of it was Brayden was so deep into the pawn bag he couldn't get himself out of. And since Ty never went on the block, it was hard for Brayden to, use the fact that he was on the block and never got votes, which I'm still debating to see what's stronger, like the fact that you were able to not get votes while you were on the block versus Ty never going on the block. But I think Brayden's problem was he wasn't proactively doing it. I think the house was creating that vibe for him of not, people not wanting to vote out Brayden.
Yeah, I think I have an opinion on that, because I think people do always debate that a lot. Like yeah, you were on the block a lot, but is that something to brag about? The fact that like, how'd you end up on the block? But I personally think Ty had to play skillfully for, let's say, like a shorter amount of time in the very beginning of the game, because Big Brother's a numbers game, and he got into that big alliance and had that safety net. But Brayden didn't get that, and just because he may have messed up a little in the very beginning, I think he did have to play more and make more moves along the way. So I personally I think it's more impressive to survive the block so many times. But that's just my opinion.
No, I definitely agree. There's pros and cons to both. Like Brayden had, out of the three, Brayden had probably the best like social standpoint, being on the block those many times. So I see both to like the sides of it.
Yeah, I was a big once I realized Brayden was going on the block and not getting votes, I had to like actually start supporting him in that sense, to be like, it's actually very impressive to like hit the block and people are scared enough to not even throw a pity vote for somebody. Like people weren't even getting pity votes against Brayden. Like, and I think that's a testament of how comfortable people felt with keeping Brayden in the game, and everybody wanted Brayden to know that they felt comfortable with him. So, like Sarah said before, Ty put himself in a power position by being in the Sunsetters and getting in that 3 subsection of the Sunsetters. So they held all the power. So it was positioning versus positioning, and I guess Ty's original position won out.
Yeah. And okay, do you know something that also bothers me a bit is that I think that people gave Ty a lot of credit and acted like Brayden was in Ty's pocket. But why does Brayden not get credit for like dragging himself from the bottom and putting himself in a position of power in a way with Ty? Like, why does he not get credit for that? Because he could have been an easy vote out so many times, but he established that strong social connection with Ty. And I feel like people give Ty more credit for like having Brayden instead of Brayden more credit for becoming good and close with Ty. I don't know.
I feel like it was very mutually beneficial. I think that was a very balanced relationship, because when Ty had to leave the throuple, his parachute alliance, which was Brayden, was right there. But Brayden was already working on Kiefer and Tara on the other side. So it wasn't hard for Ty to get into that spot, because Ty was also working with Kiefer, and then he was linked up with Brayden. So it just made sense.
Yeah. And did Ty have to leave the throuple? Did he? Because he was in a pretty good spot regardless. So the fact that Brayden, I feel like, convinced Ty to leave the throuple, I feel like that. I don't know. I give Brayden credit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, definitely. Also, Ty won the comps that he needed to win.
Period.
Like he had to win the comps that he needed to. So, which kind of helped him with establishing the Brayden connection too.
Yeah.
But
so I got a question.
Okay.
Do y'all think Tara leaves Kiefer in the game, so Brayden goes home, right? In this case, does Tara have a better chance of getting to the end and winning, or do you think she loses to Ty and Kiefer in that situation?
I think personally, this is Sarah Yell money talking. There is such a difference in prize money here, like $20,000 versus $500,000. Yeah, Tara probably would have gotten second place, but I think she loses to both of them. I do, and I think the only person she had a good shot against was Brayden, and so I think she had to cut Kiefer there. I do.
No, I definitely agree. I think either scenario, Tara gets either third or second in any way possible. She had the story, but I think her story started way later, whereas Kiefer and Ty, their story started earlier in the game.
Yeah, I don't want to keep going back, but I think Beth was probably her best case scenario. Like when Beth and Tara linked up, and it was kind of like we kind of got to take each other to the end. That wasn't a lie. Like I think that would have been Tara's best case scenario. Because I agree with you guys. I think she most likely gets destroyed by Kiefer, and she might lose to Ty as well. So it's Ty the eventual winner. So yeah, this house was messy. Like the whole final three, final four, Kiefer. I give a lot of credit to Kiefer for getting himself off the block that 1 week, but he should have never been on the block. So I don't know. The gameplay towards like the final six, like you said, everybody started playing very well at that point. So the people who kind of couldn't keep up will go home. So that puts more credence on, I guess, Ty, Terry, and Brady getting to the end, especially Ty winning.
Yeah, could have been so different if only Austin stayed. That's where everything went wrong or right. It ended up being good. I was so worried the season was going to be so boring after the double eviction, but it really didn't. It really, I love that they self-imploded, that it continued to kind of have a good storyline and everything, and that people who, like, everyone had a story at the end. Like, everyone had a good chance to win. Some people just had better chances.
Most definitely. So where do y'all put Ty in like the grand scheme of the Big Brother ether? Like, I guess we could, do Canada, because I don't think people compare across the US.
Can we compare? I don't know all the winners of Canada that well.
I want to compare all, not all of them, I guess, just like a rough placement. I would probably put Ty. Personally, for Big Brother winners, I think Ty had to maneuver through the wildest house. Like, I think this was the most messy house where people was, throwing shots everywhere. And I think Ty original installation kept him away from all of that. So the placement of Ty and how Ty played his game, I have to put respect on it. And Ty didn't ultimately have to win out and break the comps. He just ended up winning the specific comps that he needed to at the end and ended up winning. So I'll put him top 3 BB Can with a possible top 2 for me.
Well, he almost played a perfect game. If he got Tara's vote, he would literally have played a perfect game, correct?
Mm-hmm.
He was never nominated, never had any votes against him. Tara had to be better. Mm-hmm. Did you see her little interview too? Sorry, side note of her being like, there was people that regretted voting for Ty. And I just thought that was so annoying.
It is annoying because
it is, yeah.
You did what you did. The jury did what they did. Like, give it up. It's fine. But she probably felt bad, to be honest.
Yeah. But also, like the third placer has that small amount of time to digest what just happened. So she had the moment of like, okay, this just happened. I have to vote literally in like 30, 40 minutes. Whereas everyone else were able to digest, broke down every single person. So I also like, I see in that perspective too why she voted Raiden, but at the same time, like, come on. Ty played the better game. Vote for Ty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of whose game I respect more in the Big Brother ether, to be honest. That's kind of what I've been thinking about though, for where Ty falls for me. Because I just have so much respect for Ty, and I think he played such a strong and solid game. And he had the social connections. He won some competitions when he needed to. He is likable, if that matters to you. It matters to me personally. Like, I'll never put like Evil Dick as a top tier winner for me because I just don't think he's that likable for me. But there's other ones like that as well. I'm trying to think who is like the standard top Big Brother player. Like Dr. Will probably. Is Dr. Will considered like the best player? Who's considered the best winner?
Yes, he's considered probably up there as the best winner. And people like Derek. I feel like breaking the game is not like you didn't really have big strategy. I guess you kind of just took a whole bunch of numbers and put them together, whatever. If you don't ever break away from that, that's my criteria of a good player. Like if you stay with the whole alliance that you create from the beginning and you never decide to do anything differently that can actually benefit your game, even if you do win, I'm just not going to respect it as much as I respect somebody like Ty, who actually flipped. He actually turned on them when he kind of didn't have to, but he risked the layout and still didn't go on the block. So that's important. Like he went
and
away.
Still got their votes.
He still got their votes. So that's impressive. I mean, Dr. Will is good. People, say June is good. Obviously, they say Dan is good. Andy.
Yeah, there was like, did you see, there was a thread on Twitter where people were throwing out hot takes. And one of the hot takes was that Andy was the most solid winner of all winners. Like played the most solid game, which I thought was interesting.
Very interesting. I saw that season. He literally like floated. But that's my opinion.
Yes, but if you are the best floater ever, do you get credence for do you get do you get credit for that basically?
That's true.
Okay, let's compare. So we can compare Ty and Andy. Andy had more of a floater game where he kind of went where the power was until he saw a solid structure and created the four he needed to help him get to the end. Right. Ty kind of didn't have to do as much work as Andy. That doesn't make Andy a better player because he had to work harder. I feel like it makes Ty more like intricate in his moves. And Ty has the trapdoor plan under his belt, and Andy has the double eviction fake out. A lot of people don't try to, mobilize and, do something on a double eviction. So Andy doing that put him up there as a really good winner because he was trying something that could have, messed him up, but he had to do it to make sure, they went home. So it's hard. I would say Ty played because Andy also played in a messy ass house. So I was about to say Ty played in a messy house. Andy played in a messy house. This is hard.
You know what I'm thinking about is that obviously this season of Big Brother had a lot of big characters. It was an entertaining season, very messy. But I don't think it was a house full of the strongest Big Brother players compared to other seasons. Like, they should never have allowed a throuple to make it as far as they did. That was like shocking to me. And the fact that some people were still trying to get in good graces with people where I was like, it's from maybe just outside looking in, it's so clearly obvious that you're not going to get in and you shouldn't be trying to work with certain people. You should be working with people on the bottom, people who actually are willing to work with you. And so I think Ty might fall below some of the other people just because I don't know if he was on a season full of people that were as savvy, if that's fair.
Ty reminds me of Paris, season 6. I think they both played similar games. So I kind of agree with you in that way. He'd probably top 2 as far as BB Can winners. Because Paris played that I wouldn't say floatery vibe, but like the difference from her gameplay and his gameplay is the fact that she never really got into like an alliance while he had an alliance to begin with. But he would be top.
Very UTR, Sean. Very UTR, under the radar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree with, I say 90% of this. The only thing I would say in Ty's defense, playing with people who are not good players is sometimes harder. And in a sense that they're more unpredictable in the game. So one thing Ty had to maneuver through an invisible HOH that nobody knew what was gonna go. Like that was like, to be honest, that was not Vic's good move. Like that wasn't the move Vic needed to make there. So if the invisible HOH was a little bit better, maybe Ty goes on the block. Maybe, Ty and Jed go up together, and this whole season is different. You know what I'm trying to say? But since he got lucky in that sense, he could have also got unlucky with the wrong person getting that, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I feel like playing with people who you have to like shift your gameplay, because Ty is a good player. Like he was obviously the best out of all these people. Let's say I really would say I will give everybody the credit. I say everybody in the house was at least a B player, but I think certain people were higher Bs and people were lower Bs, and Ty was one of the higher Bs that I think could get an A in different circumstances. But his house was kind of not that good, and I feel like operating in a not so good house is kind of difficult.
Yeah.
Very power hungry. Very power hungry.
And easily misted. I feel like everyone was easily misted by the boys. Which the boys talked about that when, like, I think we talked about it earlier. Like, there were so many duos this season. They really were the two that really spent time like socializing with everyone. Like, I think that there were people this season that had quite weak social games actually, and didn't take the time to talk to everyone, which is probably how I would be if I was in the house. It's very hard for me to talk to people that I don't get along with, So I understand, but I also think that the strong social games, I think Jed, Ty, and Brayden had the three strongest social games in the house, I would say. Maybe Tina in the beginning, but Tina kind of slacked at the end.
Yeah, because Jed doesn't go home if he doesn't play that veto on Beth. If he plays the veto on himself, it's a whole different ball game. So it's
whole different ball game.
Different story.
It's just a whole different story. So his social.
Who else was on the block? Was it Beth and Brayden? Well, Brayden would have gone up, correct?
Brayden was gonna go up.
Brayden went up.
And
they would have saved Beth, probably.
They would have had that was final 6. Am I right? If it was final 6, they would have had the numbers to take Brayden out. Like Jed and Ty, they would have the numbers. So basically, all Jed had to do was take himself off the block. Bray goes up, and then they vote out Bray, and then
it's possible that Kiefer and Ty would end up taking out Beth. That's possible, but I don't think they would have at that point. I think Brayden goes.
Yeah, I think Brayden in that case, Jed might beat Ty. You know what I'm trying to say? Like Ty isn't the overlord in the game no more because he ends up getting out Jed. Like, motherfucking butterfly effect is crazy. If one person does one thing different, the whole game was gonna change. And that was the strength of, I guess, the cast of. I like the fact that it wasn't an A+ player and a C- player in the game at the same time. So it was easy to see it. I was on my toes to the very end, and I haven't had a Big Brother season like that in a while. Like where I was just like, I didn't know who was gonna win. Truthfully,
they were very, very, very flip floppy too, which made it more entertaining. It wasn't even like at one point like, oh, this person's leaving, and then like 2 seconds later, nope. It's switched. Like that's how entertaining it was. It was very flip flop because people were actually like playing the game and not sticking to a plan. Like, okay, we're getting this person, but not like that's what I loved about it.
Yeah, I have a question about Tara specifically. There are some people online who feel that Tara should never have won because she'd been previously voted out. Do you think that should be something that goes against her?
No, I feel like if you were able to get back in the game, especially on some fake weird double eviction like that, like
Mhm.
she basically left the house for 10 seconds and came right back in. Like it wasn't like she was out in the jury and came back in. It was a revolving door. And if you get to the end when they try to take you out, you came back in after you took out Jed. It's all about circumstance. I don't believe
Mhm.
everybody deserves to come back and win, but I just feel like Tara's game was strong enough to say something at the end to warrant votes. But
Mhm.
I believe Battleback people are the biggest threats because if they come back, they actually should win. Because y'all try to get them out, it was a Battleback. They came back in, y'all stopped getting them out. You know what I'm trying to say? It
Yeah.
was a reason why y'all got them out, and then they got to the end. So
It's also a different story. Like, they do a battle back, but they were already in the jury, so they have information if they do end up coming back. Whereas Tara, it's the only information she probably had was something from like what Jed knows, and that's probably
the same
knowledge.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she told more to Jed. I don't think Jed told much to her, actually, from what
Yeah.
I watched. Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's kind of silly because I feel like every season is different. There's always going to be twists from production and things. And like, how is a battle back different than like a diamond power veto? Because the result probably would have been the same, but you like saved yourself. Like, how are you saving yourself from a battle back? How is that any different than like saving yourself from a different production twist?
That's real.
But people,
That's real.
but people look at it very differently. Like people feel like if you've been voted out, you don't deserve to win. Like there's people who strongly feel that way, and I just think it's kind of like meh. Like Survivor's a different story. Like Edge of Extinction, that's a little different ball game. But not to bring up another show.
Yeah, I like that winner of that season personally, but hopefully this may sound crazy, hot take. I think they played this season of Big Brother like we playing these minis messy, like not like a messy mini, but like I feel like they played this season like we're playing a mini. Like they hear an idea, think about it, like the idea, agree on the idea, go around, talk to more people, a different, better idea comes up, and they like solidify that idea instead. Like all they did was flip flop in this game, and it's no problem to flip flop. You just can't outwardly flip flop because that'll get you in trouble. It was just good that it wasn't that great of people where they was catching on to the flip flop and being a negative for them. Like, 'cause they had to see it happening. Like, I know they wasn't secretive about, who they wanted to keep because from that Latoya vote with Ro and versus Josh, am I right? It was Ro versus Josh, and they was back and forth about flipping that vote, and then that became the whole vibe of Latoya wants to flip votes, even though they didn't flip the vote.
Poor Latoya, robbed.
She was robbed. She was masterminding that too hard too at the same time. We're flipping the vote, right? We're flipping.
Yeah, it's the problem. I think the problem of this season too, where I will have to give them a dock in their grade because I'm gonna be grading them, is like the amount of times they decided to do a flip and didn't do it. Like that bothered me so much. Like if you're gonna throw somebody's name out, you have to take them out. Like if you're gonna try to make a move, you have to take them out because it got a few people kind of eliminated. It got Jed eliminated. It got Latoya eliminated. It got people who didn't want to actually go through with the flip. The next time they had a chance to get them out, they was out.
Even with Beth taking out Vic, like the last minute, she was like, "Do we take her out now? Like, I think we should save her." Like, I was like, "No," but then she ended up saying, like, I might as well just go with the plan because she's already on the block. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was hoping, I was like, "Yeah, do it, do the flip, please." But
Beth is confusing to me though. I could never tell if she actually was going back on the flip or if she was trying to do like jury management. I could never really tell sometimes. Like when to be like, wasn't the one that wanted you out.
Oh, Beth.
Yeah, nah, Beth was weird. Like I think she made the correct move to get Vic out the house, but I also don't know. Like I'm not gonna hold you up because Vic should have put Beth on the block before the round before in the secret HOH. She didn't do it. So do you risk Vic still being the biggest target left in the house and you potentially going on the block, or you take her out? I think for Ty and Jed, it was dumb for Vic to go home, but I think for Beth, it was good. But I think Beth fell into it. I think that weird double HOH messed Beth up because the final four was really Beth, Kiefer, Ty, and Brayden, and that wasn't good. That was like she was at the final four, and then she ended up getting the final five, right? She ended up getting taken out that week before, so she lost the placement. I think that was like the worst thing for Beth, but I don't think Beth was ever gonna win.
I don't know about y'all, but like for me, Beth played a great game. She just had the worst jury management for me. Like, I don't know how y'all feel about that, but like I feel like Beth could have won if she wasn't acting the way she was acting.
Yes.
Yeah, she toned her volume down a few notches, and I think Beth could have beaten Brayden and potentially Tara. Even Ty would have been. Even going against Ty would have been interesting since they had a lot of similar allies. Like I'm not sure where like the Tina Tara duo would go between Ty and Beth. I'm not sure where, because I did like a whole jury breakdown, and it was very. I probably pretty wrong on my jury breakdown, but.
Well, what happens? I mean, what happens when Ty can't take sole ownership of the moves from the throuple? Like when it's multiple people from the throuple there, now you have to convince them that you had more agency than your other alliance member, which is a whole different ball game that I think Ty could have potentially lost in, but I still think he talks better than Beth. So I think he may be able to be like, Beth was more linked into the group, but I had more power. Like, that's because Beth was low key. I think Beth could have pulled Tina back over if Beth wanted to. Beth could have made moves if certain people was out the house, but she got too blinded with, I don't know, keeping people like Brayden in, or like, Kiefer, like people who needed to go for her own game, she didn't really take out. Besides the boys, basically. Like if you gonna set the boys up to go home, you have to have your allies left in the game when you take them out.
I agree though. It was interesting where Beth went though, because I don't think it was the best for a lot of people. Like I was really surprised that Tara, especially, because I was like, don't you want Beth in the game, or just like other people like that? I did think it was interesting that Beth went then. She
was so happy.
Who was she on the block against? Like, who was HOH? Who was HOH? Do you remember when Beth went? Was it Brayden? Was that the week that Brayden did the double? It was HOH and then Vito. Okay.
Yeah, Brayden.
So never mind. Tara was on the block with Beth, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, never mind then.
Both times. Once with Ty and then once with Brayden, which is crazy. Maybe that's where Brayden loses, when he doesn't take Beth off when he doesn't take Tara off the block and doesn't put up Kiefer and like votes out Kiefer basically, or votes out like Beth in that case or whatever. Like Tara needed to be in the game, I guess by default versus Beth. I don't know, just taking out Beth and Jed at the same time would have just been golden.
Yeah. I did think it was better for Ty though to have Kiefer until 4, because I think that if Kiefer leaves, Ty becomes the next biggest target of the people left, and so I felt like it was important to have Kiefer there, especially because Kiefer wasn't doing so hot in competitions at this point, especially since Endgame was pretty physical. So I felt like it was good having him there for Ty at least. And I don't know. And
I agree. As a big target,
Brayden should have played his own game though and done what was best for him, but.
Yeah, as a big target, Kiefer being there at the final 4, either Kiefer or Ty gets taken out, or Kiefer or somebody else gets taken out. Like Ty's in a better position. Because if Kiefer's not there, let's say it's Beth, Tara, and Brayden with Ty, he's looking like men's meat, like by all of them, that they're going to take him out.
Yeah. Brayden at the end, I wonder if he was even like nervous at all for the competitions. Like at Final 4, I guess there was a chance Tara could have taken him out, but Brayden was sitting pretty at the end. Everyone wanted Brayden at Final 2, I think.
Yeah.
Kiefer's probably the only one that probably wouldn't have taken him, and that's because he thought he could beat everyone.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's the position. Braden put himself in a position where he was safe all around the board. Like, I think that needs to be respected more than not, because when you're able to like not have to work at the end when everybody else is working, it's kind of like you did your job. Like, if I was ever in a position where I was like playing a game and I'm actively trying to set myself up to be lazy later, if that makes sense. I'm trying to set myself up so I don't have to do as much work in the end game as other people will have to do. So I feel like that should be rewarded, but I think sometimes people will take that as you taking your foot off the gas pedal, and that's not it. It's more so I've been working hard as fuck for 7, 8 weeks. So these last 3 weeks, I don't have to work as hard. So I don't know. And but like it's the disconnect where like, you have to keep going and perceiving that you keep going, but you don't want to overplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I don't think people respect that as much though. I think that people usually respect a casual beginning game and then a hard end game.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird to me, not gonna lie. I feel like, I don't know. Like, no one really acknowledges the pre-jury part when it comes to like the final two. Like, the jury happens, that's the only thing that they look at. Which, like, I don't know. I feel like it should be the whole game. Like, why, how it started and how it ended kind of thing. But they only acknowledge the middle to end.
I think it's because it only affects those jury members personally when they go out, so they want it to be about them. I'm not gonna hold you up. A lot of jury members, if they don't win, they want people to talk about them, so they feel like important in their game. So I don't know. I agree, because what if you set yourself up and early on you're in danger a lot, and then you like do so many moves where you stay in the game, and then you are solidified within a group. Let's say you go to the final two with somebody who basically just plays a really hard end game, like the last 5 votes, take all the last 5 people out. Who deserves to win? The person who didn't have to actually take all those people out, or the person who like took everybody out?
Because if you look at the beginning, they really weren't in power. Like, they were kind of blindsided with the LaToya vote. But then the thing is they really should have, on paper, been the next people to go. But the thing is, they had Kiefer and Victoria protecting them, and because of that, they managed to kind of coast by until they were in power again, because they kept their numbers.
Yeah, that's real. It's real.
And it's also like the final two like presents their game, because at the end of the day, you may have played the best game and won the comps you needed to win, but are you able to present it to the jury? So like that's also like a factor.
And Ty didn't even bring up the fact that he'd never been on the block. Like, I'm hoping the jury knew that, but he didn't even bring up the most impressive parts about his game, which was very weird to me.
I mean, that's because he had so much stuff he was doing, and I think I will hope something like that will always help the person, where it's a default fact that if you were paying attention, Ty never hit the block. So if that's a default fact, you can assume that they know, but if he has so much more stuff he was doing in the game that they didn't see, him focusing on the other stuff could have helped him. I just hope it's always rewarded. I hope it gets to the point where gameplay is rewarded however they want to reward it, and is more so not about how shitty you did somebody in the game. Granted, Paul should have lost twice. I'm 10 toes down with that. Like, he deserved that. He literally played a game that was sus, came right back and played the exact sus ass game, even worse, and expected to get a W. Like, what was going on there? But I do feel like people should be less like, people should worry about how they're treating people too. How about that? Sorry, I'm gonna leave it at that. People need to worry about how you're treating people, and don't be mad if somebody don't want to vote for you if they feel like you treated them like shit. I'm sorry. Treat people better.
Because you want the person to win, to be someone you're proud to represent your season. And so if you don't want someone who you think was like a bully or someone who was mean to represent your season.
Period.
I think people can vote how they want.
I think no matter what this season, this final two, I would have been happy whichever one. Like I'm really happy Ty won because Ty was able to eloquently talk and really promote his game well to the jury, and I like that confidence he had, and hopefully people who's watching it feels that confident as well to get to the end. I just hope it don't turn into a black person finally won. Whenever they get to the end, they gonna win. Let's take them out. I hope it don't turn into that.
Oh, the same thing that I feel like always happens to like women in minis too. I feel like it's
Yes.
always the same. I don't think it's gonna become that. Hopeful. I don't know.
I don't think so either.
Well,
Do you think that? Do you think? I really hope the United States follows suit, though. Like, do you think that we're gonna get a really diverse cast for the U.S. and a group that we're proud of, or no?
I hope so.
I'm 70% sure they're gonna do it. They have the means, they have the opportunity, they have a blueprint. We really kind of just show them a nice, beautiful, diverse cast that they could use, like same type of outlook or whatever. But please, I don't know, like just do it. Like y'all can do it. Don't take your foot off the pedal. If it looks like you're doing too much, you're not. Like make that motherfucker blackity black. You know, throw some Asians in that motherfucker. Throw some Mexicans in there. You know, throw some white people in there. That's fine. Just all different type of people. Like make it very like diverse.
They
make
just
it
need to.
Broad.
They just need to remove the quotas. They don't need that.
No
remove
quotas.
the jocks. We don't need no jocks. Give us some typical person. Like we don't need to fit a quota. We don't need that like very flamboyant gay or like the jocks. Like no, this is not high school. This is Big Brother.
Right. And people. I want to just say this: people don't always fit certain modes that you think they fit in, and it's showing a variety of all different kind of people. So don't just cast the same ditzy white girl or the same nerdy white girl or the same model white girl or the same gay guy or the same black man or the same black woman. Everybody comes in so many different varieties. It's not hard it's so many different people I know who watches these games. So I know they can find different types of people. So I just want all different type of personalities, all different kind of people in one house, and let's see what they do.
That's so true. I think Ty said something I thought was really cool. I don't even like see these things sometimes, where he said like to have a black man on television who like isn't an athlete or a rapper, you know what I mean? Like fitting those same stereotypical roles, like those archetypes that shouldn't be related to color, you know?
Yeah.
No, it's real. No, they love that. Like, they just love, like you said, filling the quotas, fitting like certain stereotypes, the demographics, but just try to find 16 beautiful, different looking people who's ready to play this game. It's all you need, and then you're going to get a good show. Like, the stunt casting does not matter. Like, if I don't even care if they throw a sibling from a previous house guest in there, as long as the whole cast is diverse. Like that could be a twist. It's like I think BB-18 was cute. Like it was just the returnees came in. Just imagine if siblings came in without the returnees. I know I just threw some other shit out there.
Like Alyssa or whatever.
Yes, yeah, like Alyssa. That was nice. Like they kind of.
It kind of looks like her. It's kind of fun when the house gets figured out. Yeah.
Or even Tiffany and.
Oh yeah.
And Paul. The other one. No, I got you. And nobody even like Alyssa got far, but Alyssa didn't win. I mean, Alyssa got far because of America, but Alyssa didn't win. So I don't know. Just be cute with it. How do you feel, Sarah? You think these gonna be nice?
I don't have faith yet, to be honest. I don't know. I'm a pessimist. I just feel like they just haven't shown anything yet, and it's so weird because it's like I have to remember too. I feel like I've talked to some people, especially like on Big Brother, and they always say like you can't. It's like the casting's the same for Canada, the United States. It's the production that has the problem. Like CBS is the problem, like the big problem, because they're the ones that say that have the final say in who goes on the show and who doesn't. And I don't know. I'm hoping that they're given a good cast, but production has to be the ones to change. The old white guys at the board table, have to and they have to realize that Big Brother Canada was successful. It's not even just don't do it because for politics. Do it because it's what America wants, for money too. It's not it's what the people want. It's not just a statement thing either. If that's what convinces the people at the board, people are gonna stop watching Big Brother. So many people say they don't want to watch anymore because of the way it's going, and that they need to make a change. And I don't know why they just can't seem to realize that. And do background checks too. I don't know.
No, literally.
Google search, Twitter search, something.
The way that BB can ripped him out of that freaking cast,
out of here,
like that.
Mm-hmm.
But US seasons, we we know who this person is, and then they're already on the cast. They're playing the game.
I personally feel like they should let us vet the cast first, like we did for BB Canada, and the Twitter people are going to find dirt on whoever they want to find dirt on. So you better. That's who the team y'all need to hire. Oh, Twitter team, find the dirt on this person. Anything, let me know. Boom. I think Big Brother is about to get some pressure put on them. I think The Circle was just the first edition of game show reality shows I feel like Netflix is trying to introduce. So I feel like CBS needs to kind of watch their back and kind of realize y'all have to put out a good product, because there's other shows and other networks trying to find different shows that are about to take over these reality show spaces, especially the game shows, because the same voting people out and being in a house, and especially being in a racist house. Ain't nobody trying to watch this shit. Nobody ever trying to watch this shit. People I know we don't think it's gonna be racist at first, but then the season just roll on and a lot of fees happen. Everybody got microaggressions. Everybody got something to say under their breath, and they ignorant about it. And it just keep being the exact same thing, and they just sweep it under the rug. I know they don't want people to think that they show is racist, but you need to show the racism if that's what's happening. If this is supposed to be a show that's supposed to be an experiment on what's happening in the house, show the good side, show the bad side, show what the fuck y'all gotta show everything, because we need to know that it's real. And artificially trying to make a cute ass story, even when a motherfucker is being very derogatory towards certain people, it's just irresponsible and ignorant. And hopefully they decide that they want to do better and, actually protect the people in the house, actually, show what's really going on, show the truth of what's, of everything. Because a lot of feeders see it mostly, but the casuals will never.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the casuals sometimes do see little glimmers of it, and they're like, oh, that wasn't, I still feel like it doesn't always get through to them,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a disconnect. It's most definitely a disconnect. But when the show is showing you a cookie cutter version of something that happens, you're only going to believe so much, because people think everything is candid. Something like TV is never candid like reality.
Yeah.
It's always skewed some way.
Yeah. Do you think production should step in? Because production does, if it gets to a certain point. I think it's almost more to protect the house guests, they stop doing it more than necessarily because, I don't know, do you think they should step in, or do you think that's an interference in what the show is kind of built on?
I personally think physical abuse is just as important as mental abuse. And if you are abusing somebody with your words, constantly berating them, when it's not when it gets to a point where you make people feel uncomfortable, it's damn near assault. It's just different type of assault. So it's just you can psychologically mess somebody up. This is a psychological game. And some people are scarred for a long time. I know they signed up to play this game, but psychological warfare should be just as punishable as physical violence, basically. So if you're berating people, kind of making them feel uncomfortable, if the house guests say they're uncomfortable, and you kind of just brush it away because you don't think they should be uncomfortable, it's kind of bad or whatever. I don't think it should be a super interference, but I think it should be more conscious to be are you okay? This was, but I guess they can't say what's happening in the house. But if somebody out here saying the N-word around me and they using a hard R, and I just don't hear it. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't know. I feel like they should let me know, right? Well, because what if I'm kicking it with this person and they out here talking shit in the other room? You know what I'm saying? Like saying very derogatory stuff. So I know it's a fine line. What I feel like what they can do, but they can do more. Just how about just don't put problematic people in your cast?
Yeah. Because I think Beth is a prime example, just because Beth, I think, was from the Midwest, and I think she was making some of her comments knowingly, if that's fair to say. But at the same time, it's just like it shouldn't be the responsibility of the Black House guest to correct her, because first and foremost, it's a game, so that just puts them in such an uncomfortable position to have to be managing ignorant people in the house. Like sometimes I wish that in the DR. I almost wish it was like BB over the top, or like live feeders could see the DR so we could like see a conversation happen, and like production being like, hey, we noticed you said this, and just so you know, like this is historically, this is why it's not okay to say this. And if people are willing to learn, and you can probably hopefully get those kind of people from good casting, then hopefully they could have an understanding and move on. I think that like the audience would be a lot more happy with that kind of discourse, and people will be able to learn, because I just don't think it should be the responsibility of the people in the house, but also sometimes I wish things got said.
Didn't they do that with Victoria this season when she said the R word? Didn't they call into the DR?
I think so, yeah. I think so. I think they told her like to cut it, which is good. I mean, I feel this. I mean, you just need somebody in there that's basically equipped to understand different cultural, indecencies, if that makes sense. Like if it's all white people on the cast and then a white person say some shit that normal white people say when Black people not around, if a black person doesn't hear that, then they're not going to know to tell them that that's wrong, right? Or somebody who normally doesn't think that's wrong, they're just going to think it's normal. And I think the lack of having like diversity in production will always make that bad, because it's going to always be a disconnect. You're never going to be able to read the room like the minorities that's playing. Like, you're trying to say, like, you're never going to, if you're not the minority, let's say if you're not a Black man or a Black woman or an Asian man or Asian woman, and they say something derogatory towards Asians, and you as a white person have always thought that was normal, you're not going to think twice about it. So it's just kind of just going to get brush right over your head. So that's why having different type of people in production in all variations of it, editing, casting, all of that will help basically correct people when they need to be corrected. Because Jackson probably still racist as hell right now. So I don't think he probably, because we won $500K being racist. So like, why would he stop being racist? It's worked for him.
Yeah. You just go off social media. That seems to be the new way to avoid it nowadays.
And on that note, do you have anything else you want to say? I know that was kind of a jury thing to kind of end on, but production do better. But
I liked your comments on editing too. I didn't think about like how much editing can make a difference too. I guess that's just what you talked about. Like, instead of creating these like cookie cutter storylines, but to be able to have those like deeper conversations showed. I guess that is more editor's choice, correct? I don't know how
most definitely
TV works. But overall, I think that they created a really good framework for the future, and I think it was a successful season. I hope they got a lot of good Canadian viewership. I don't actually know how it did ratings wise, since that seems to be the number one thing that influences the direction of TV. But maybe I will be a little more optimistic for the United States.
Same.
I hope Canada has more budget now for a new house.
Hopefully. All that TikTok money, TikTok sponsorships. But guys, have anything else for the season?
Congrats,
shout out to Ty. Shout out to Ty.
Congrats to Brayden.
Shout out to Brayden. He looked really nice. This he had, yeah. Shout out to them.
Mhm.
Shout out to Arissa. Beautiful season. You did amazing. Good casting. Except for the original guy. But I mean, listen, it's they. I think they had 13 out of 14. Like, because Kyle being a replacement, that guy, like, just a replacement person. Like, 13 out of 14 is good. Like,
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, Arissa's part of production, so she booted. Bye.
Flung. He was out of here.
Who are you talking about? I don't know. He's so I don't even know his name, so that's good, right?
Never mind.
But yeah, okay. I'm good to wrap this up. So, Sean, do you have any social media you'd like to plug?
That Pinoy K is my Twitter. I'll be going back behind the scenes, making the graphics for Silent Podcast.
Period. Very thankful, my guy. You be popping off. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
And Sarah, how about you?
My name is Sarah Yell. Here's my Twitter. And if you guys have any ideas for things you want Silent Podcast to cover, I'm sure you could reach out to the Twitter account or someone. And we'll get it through. Because right now I have nothing in store and I want to do something else.
Period. And shout out to y'all. It's your boy Ganjo. You can follow me at Ganjo the Dank 2 on Twitter. And you also can find me at the Monarch Game for my mini org. Shout out to that.
Yes.
Bye.
Okay. Have a good night, you guys. Bye.
Bye.